Okay, so today we're going to talk about stacks of gold so tall that you can't even see over them. Well, okay, so maybe you can see over them, but it's a work in progress. So if I was to sell every bit of gold that I had, well, almost everything. There are a few items that I'll just never sell, but if I was to sell just about every bit of gold that I had and then immediately buy back in using 100% of the proceeds toward gold again, my new stack would be pretty simple. It would be as many gold buffaloes and as many American gold eagles as I could get my hands on. Now, this is not something that I'm planning to do, but I think about it now and then, and there's really no question for me. That's just what I do. Eagles and buffaloes. So what I found with gold is that there's usually a right answer on what I should buy, and then there are all kinds of not wrong answers. So they're not right, but they're not wrong. I can justify Canadian Maple Leafs or Britannias, maybe series coins. I can justify cheaper gold, and I can even justify that slabbed 2009 UHR that I was talking about in the last video. I paid 30% premium on that with no real plan of selling for a higher profit, but I can still justify it. I can justify it, but any of those not wrong answers, they're more about what I want right now, and that kind of rationale always fades over time. Now, I'm not making a video to tell anyone that what they're doing isn't right or that anyone else is in this not wrong but not right catch. The whole thing revolves around what's best for you, and you're just the only person who can answer that. But I thought that it was worth laying out the reasons that there is a right answer for me and then explain a little bit why I would change things up if I was starting today with a whole pile of cash. So for me, and probably for most everybody, once I have that interesting and different thing in a safe, the motivation just kind of disappears, it evaporates, it's gone. Now, I can grab it out now and then, but the additional value that that piece might have, it's usually more or less gone. And in a lot of cases, the value is actually gone plus a little bit more. I suppose that's just a nice way of saying that I've lost money on it. Now, I can point to a few coins that I have in the stack that are less liquid and even less valuable than a buffalo or an eagle. And I can see that very clearly now, but when I was on the hunt for them, it would have been hard for me to admit it. It probably would have also been hard for me to even care. And that's mostly because I have different motivations. Sometimes I do grab things just to keep the channel a little bit more interesting. So I have that additional layer in that decision process. But the standard uniform thing, the right answer thing, almost always proves to be the better purchase. Now, another reason that those right answers pay off comes from simple organization. I can work toward a tube of eagles or a tube of buffaloes infinitely. Once I get one, I put it away, I can work on the next one. And if that seems a little bit boring, then any of that boredom comes from how our brains are wired. We're wired to seek out new challenges. And then on top of that, we have some conditioning to compare ourselves to the Joneses. That just comes from marketing, watching TV, scrolling through social media. But if you want an easy way to capture wealth, an easy way to think about it, it's through uniformity. Uniformity is easier for math, it's easier for liquidity, it's easier for long-term value. So it's easier for math because you just don't have to add up all the different things that you've amassed, different coins, different sizes, different types. Maybe others are different than I am, but I can tell you exactly how many buffaloes I have. I can tell you how many eagles I have, how many until the next tubes are full. But then I have to stop and I have to grab onto something solid to think through and add up all of the other stuff. I have a spreadsheet, of course, so that makes it a little bit more like an investment account with itemization. I can see all the different things that I'm into, but it's still a lot more complicated if you have a random stack. Now, I'll just stop and say one more time that I'm not trying to tell anyone that this one way of doing things is right and everything else is wrong. Random isn't wrong. All you have to do is pick a video that I've put out. You'll see that I have random stuff all the time, but I am going to keep running through the pros of uniformity here, and then I'll circle back in on the point. So the biggest positive for having one or two things rather than random comes in a sale. And if you don't plan to ever sell your gold, it's actually even more important because if it's a little bit harder for you to sell a bunch of random pieces, it will be a lot harder for whoever gets it when you're gone. Now, I've sold gold a few times. The first was a pile of random things that I picked up based on spending too much time shopping on the internet. So it was things like 20 francs roosters and ducats and sovereigns, lunars, and then some eagles that I actually had because I did the research to find out what I should have been buying. And I can't overstate how much of a pain it was. I had to bounce around between 3 local shops and private buyers to move about 20 ounces of gold, and it took months. Eventually, I just kind of stopped selling because I was using the cash toward a real estate purchase, and so much time had passed that I really didn't need it anymore. Now, the second sale was a tube of American Gold Eagles. Maybe it was 2. Maybe I shouldn't say, but that took about an hour. Now, those are one-off situations, of course, and I know that I could sell a pile of roosters and ducats and sovereigns faster today. People are just more excited about gold now than they were then, but there might be another similar point in the future where it would be hard again. So the point here is all about wealth accumulation and what's important. If you're thinking about this as a way to put away savings, there is an objective best answer. Yours might be completely different than mine, but there is one good answer. Now, whatever it is, I'd say that you should work on that one first. So this is not a lecture. I just thought it was time to maybe get back to logic here. The stuff that I do to keep the topic interesting here on the channel, I can drift into not wrong decisions quite a bit. Sometimes I drift further than that into just plain wrong decisions, into happy idiot decisions. I'm of the opinion that life can get a little bit boring if you don't chase down the fun stuff now and then, challenge those right decisions. So if you're in a place to grab a gold coin just because it makes you smile, that's a pretty great thing. I know there are a few of you watching these videos that can do that every time, and I'm not here to talk that down. That would definitely be a fun place to be. For me, though, these tubes represent the bulk of what I'm up to. My primary goal is to fill these things up and then put them away. And this is the John Wick case of backup gold and guns buried in the basement floor. A slab 2009 ultra high relief double eagle is not that. That's a fun conversation and maybe a little bit of a temperature read on how angry people are going to be when I smash it out. But the tube goals, they're the primary focus for me. So the last point that I will make here is one on saving, storing, and securing wealth. And wealth is always a word that makes me feel a little bit funny because I just don't have the credentials to discuss a big topic like that. But this idea of saving up gold, constantly adding to the stack, is one of those great big ideas. One that I don't think anyone needs a certification for to see that it's a good idea. So lately, though, I've seen questions about whether it is a good idea. Specifically, they're coming up again about what gold will do in a recession. And I feel like I've covered that. I've covered my thoughts on that a few times recently even. I think the price of gold will go up. I also think it'll go down. It just depends on which part of the cycle you're in and then what else happens that none of us has any idea about right now at the present. Now, in a recession, it's a pretty good guess that there will be people who need to hit up their backup fund. There might be enough of them selling gold to bring the price down. There might be other assets that traders want to move into. But as I mentioned a few videos back, the price of gold rises significantly in 3 out of 4 market crashes if we use history. And it has performed very well after the dot-com crash, after the housing and financial crisis, and again after the 2020 pandemic. It has a track record, but as far as the price of gold at any given time goes, I don't buy it so that the value of a single coin goes up. I buy it to have a comprehensive backup plan if things go bad. And if I just look at the reason alone, that particular reason, what I said at the open about what I'd turn around and buy back if every bit of gold I had was liquidated, I just don't think the answer for me could be much more clear. I almost look at some of the gold coins that I have, the non-eagles, the non-buffaloes, the fun stuff, as something entirely different. Not less, just different. And the old adage of work before play comes in here. If you're thinking about gold as savings or as a backup, maybe get your right answer figured out first, put in the work, and then play. Build up the base to help you sleep better, and then chase down your not wrong or happy idiot purchases once you have. That's my take. So I think that covers it for me. Let us know where you stand on right decisions and what to buy. I know some of you live in that just not wrong camp. Gold is gold. So let us know too if that's your take. I'd like to hear either side. And then while you're in the comments, like always, be sure to hit the like button if you found any of this interesting. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to see more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.